Good morning. Let's get this going here. Okay. I cannot see anything here. Good morning, guys. How's it going today on a weird time on a Tuesday? But I had been thinking about something the other day, and it just kind of popped into my head that I feel like it's something I should talk about, but I don't really have a place for it on the regular stream of videos. So I thought I'd talk about it here. And I just wanted to talk about some weird horror-related or music videos that have some horror movie elements in it that I feel like I should talk about that are kind of interesting. And good morning to everybody in the chat over there. Hello, Tracy Smith. How's it going? Davini 13. It's always good to see Cat 47. I see Adam's in there. Adam Clark. Good morning, everybody. There's some really interesting horror related music videos out there that are probably a little bit lesser known for being horror related. Some of them are rather obvious, like you've got Alice Cooper with like the Man Behind the Mask music video, things like that are very obviously horror based. But I wrote down a list of some things that I think are rather jarring, or things that I remember as being disturbing, or maybe some things that I saw when I was younger that had a pretty bizarre impression on me. And I will say I'm probably going to only show snippets of these videos just because of the whole copyright issue. But they're all on YouTube. So I think most of these you could find and watch the whole things on your own if you want. But I will show little snippets of them, particularly parts that I found to be the most interesting parts of them. The first one I will discuss is possibly one of the coolest videos that I saw in my youth, which was a lot of fun. And it's even more fun because it is directed by the great Don Coscarelli, and it is Dio with The Last in Line, which this video has some pretty cool stuff happening in it, in that it's a kid that goes down in an elevator. And I mean, look at some of these effects that he's got going on there with these cool, I mean, obviously it's not like the greatest thing, but there's all kind of cool practical effects. You've got this whole underground world, which is run by these creatures. They're like programming kids. And it has some really cool monster. Let me go ahead with the creature effects here. The less I play of the song itself, the better chances that I have of not having some sort of a copyright strike. But there's Dio is like trying to get these kids to like rise up and fight back against these crazy things, and everyone's strapped in. It's kind of disturbing, and also really, really interesting. It has some cool zombie guys there, which again, if you haven't seen this one, it's pretty fun. I mean, you got these guys that are sort of like precursor to the Borg happening in there. I mean, come on, Ronnie James Dio with like a lightsaber. Seriously, how amazing is that? Come on. So I don't know. This one is one that always sticks out to me as being pretty awesome and fairly obviously horror related. Obviously you got that Coscarelli link in there. They kind of mixed it in there. But here's one that people don't really talk about as being very disturbing, but I find part of this video to be one of the things that really disturbed me the most in my life, in terms of a music video, which is very, very odd. This happens. And this is a video that I don't think most other people would consider to be creepy. It's certainly not a creepy song, but there's one part of this video that really bothered me, and it still does. And it is Tom Petty, Don't Come Around Here No More. And I'll explain why. the whole thing is basically like an Alice in Wonderland allegory. You've got Alice coming in there, and Tom Petty is basically playing the Mad Hatter, and they have this kind of dinner party. Can I make this a little bit bigger? I guess I can do full screen. You've got this bizarre dinner party happening, much like the book and the story. But what is really disturbing on this is the ending of the video, in which they turn Alice into a gigantic piece of cake, and then they eat her alive, which I don't know why, but when I was younger, this was a scene and segment that really freaked me the hell out. It's just somebody sitting there watching as people are cutting into her and serving her up as cake for everyone to eat. I don't know why this doesn't get mentioned more as a very disturbing scene, but that is just not a pleasant thing to think about. God, I used to have nightmares about that when I was a kid. I know that sounds a little odd to think that a Tom Petty video was one of the things that gave me nightmares, but it really did. So I don't know why. Let me know if that one bothered you guys as well too, or if you're sitting back there going like, how ridiculous is that? But that it was upsetting to me. This next video is one that I guarantee you disturbs everybody that watches it. There's no way to see this video and not be freaked out and disturbed in any way, shape, or form, because it is one of the most disturbing things of all time, music video or not, and it is Come to Daddy by Aphex Twin. If you have not seen this video, it's directed by Chris Cunningham, who did who's going to do another video that I'm going to get to a little bit later. But this video is so creepy. It's such drenched in atmosphere and like dinginess. Everything about this video feels dirty and dingy, and it has these little kids in it that are wearing masks of Richard D. James, who's the guy behind Aphex Twin, is wearing masks of his face, and they're just causing chaos all throughout the town while Richard's face appears in the TV set, and of course eventually turns into this gigantic thing that comes up and attacks, and this thing is very, very disturbing. I saw this video when I was much older, and it still gave me nightmares. It's just really, really creepy. That thing is very, very not right. But such a good flick. Such a good video. Very, very creepy stuff. If you haven't seen that, check it out. It's on YouTube again. It's Come to Daddy by Aphex Twin. Really creepy. Very, very creepy video. Now, for something completely different, this is not something that disturbed me, but it's just something that is horror related. Do it here, and this is, I think, pretty fascinating, and especially when the background of this, because this there's not much in the video itself that's actually creepy, but it's just more of a love letter to horror movies. And it is the video for A New Beginning by Wolfie's Just Fine, which is the band of John LaJoie, who is a comedian and an actor. He's in, I think, a TV show called The League. But the whole video is about him as a child, basically finding his sexual awakening through that one scene from Friday the 13th, Part 5. And we all know that scene. And how it became his sexual awakening, but then also his worst nightmare, as he goes from being completely aroused to being horribly disturbed. So it becomes this whole childhood rite of passage. But damn, it's it's just so cool, and they recreate the way they recreate that whole segment. You could just tell that is done with a lot of love and respect for the source material. Plus that little kid, this is early days for him, but he went on to star in so many other things. I think he was in Lights Out. He was in he's the kid from the Child's Play remake. He's been in so many other movies since then, but I think this was early on in his child acting career. But such a great concept for a video, and you do have some Jason action in it that's fairly decent. I think that they try to avoid showing him from the front, but it is a pretty cool sequence. You can definitely see the hockey mask at times when he's running, and it's obviously very much supposed to be Jason, but they do a pretty good job with it, basically conveying how a little kid would see him. But really great video, and actually a pretty cool song too. I would it's a good song as well too. It's a little bit more mellow, folksy kind of tune. So it may not be for everybody, but I really dig it. Very cool video. How about this one? This is a huge flashback, but this is something that I used to love very much when I was younger. And again, another odd pick for this, because this is less about being horror and more, this was more about my fascination with cool special effects in videos when I was younger. And I used to love stop motion stuff and stop motion creatures and stop motion monsters and things like that. And one of the earlier ones that I remember for no reason whatsoever is from ZZ Top in the song for the video for TV Dinners, which is a pretty run-of-the-mill thing. And it's just a guy watching TV and he makes a TV dinner. But then halfway through the video, the TV dinner basically starts to hatch. And inside the TV dinner, let me get to it, is a creature. And it's a very cool stop-motion creature that seems to only want to listen to ZZ Top because he has some good taste, I guess. But anyhow, you get to the point of this near the end where it's a full-on stop motion creature comes out and is like eating food and everything, and it's just this cool little guy. And I just remember seeing this thing when I was younger and thinking, how cool is that? And my fascination with monsters and stop motion and stuff at that particular time made this one really stick out to me as being very awesome. Because I mean, look at that guy, look at him, he's so silly. But yeah, that's a pretty cool effect for that whole time frame and era. But not super horror related, but vaguely so. Next up, I'll talk about really quick here is another one from around that same era that is the same thing. And this is not necessarily this is another one that for some reason is just a weird, creepy video. The song is not dark and spooky at all, really. And the video itself isn't overtly horror related, but it's just, there's the way it's shot. And again, since I can't show you the whole video, this is going to be something that you might want to check out afterwards, after the stream, and watch this video to see what I'm talking about. But the video I'm talking about is by the Greg Kihn Band, and the song is called Jeopardy. And the theme of the video is basically a guy getting ready to get married on the morning of his wedding, and he's obviously having some last minute doubts, and everything is just very pressured, but everything is shot in these really weird tones to be just really creepy and just mount up this weird pressured atmosphere. Everything has this really strange, horrific look about it. Clearly there's a weird dream sequence, but then as it just progressive, everything gets more and more chaotic and darker. And it just was one I always remember that stuck out to me as being this strange, creepy thing. I mean, look, you got this weird Cronenberg tentacle thing lashing out and attacking him. It's kind of glorious. Again, not the most direct horror involved thing, but just, I don't know, will always stick out as being one of those weird, disturbing movies, the music videos that I remembered from that time. But, has this weird zombie movie element happening to it. Again, not something that's super horror related, but it kind of is. And if you check out the full video, and again, it's all on YouTube, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's just a strange horror vibe happening. What do I got next for you? Next up, I got something that probably you've probably seen. And yeah, I can guarantee you that the full video is not on YouTube. So I don't think that they can have the full thing on video on YouTube, because it is a very extreme music video. And it is, let me just even see if this is on here. Is this the full thing? I don't know if this is the full thing or not, but it is "Happiness and Slavery" by 9 Inch Nails. And this is not the actual video. The actual video, I don't think you can it's really out and about. Yeah, this is it. This full video, it's basically this guy setting up a torture machine, which he then strips naked and steps into, and the machine basically just tears him apart. It's some pretty gruesome effects. It's all shot in black and white and a really high grain, so everything about it just looks disturbing. And again, it's all just very dirty and dingy. And yeah, that's all that they're showing there. Everything about it just feels really grim. And the violence in it, it's excessively violent. I'm very, not surprised that it's not on YouTube. But that's one that really used to freak me out quite a bit afterwards. Next up here is I don't know if this is going to be on here as well too, but it may be. Here's the next video. I was going to put 3 videos on here by Chris Cunningham, with Chris Cunningham and Aphex Twin, but I ended up only going with 2. And I chose the 2 that were more disturbing. And the second one that I'm picking here is Aphex Twin's Rubber Johnny, which is another one that if you haven't seen, it will haunt you. And it's just this weird video that seems real about a guy named Rubber Johnny who is very, very handicapped. Got these strange visuals with this dog. Everything is shot in his night vision mode. Rubber Johnny's this weird, distended man with a gigantic head. And then as the video goes on, it just flashes of imagery of him dancing around and everything. And it's a weird acid trip of a video. And it's just really creepy. The video itself, once the song kicks in, is less disturbing. The beginning part, where it's just an interviewer attempting to have a conversation with Johnny while he attempts to talk in his weird tones. Did you see that, Johnny? I mean, come on. That's creepy stuff. Recommend it if you haven't seen Rubber Johnny. Chris Cunningham's videos, just in general, are all pretty out there. Even the stuff he's done for the not Aphex Twin are a little bit more disturbing looking, but his ones he did for Rubber Johnny for Aphex Twin are very disturbing. This next one is I don't know. I hesitated putting this on here because it's not a great song, and it's by an artist that I think most people that are horror fans would not seek out, which is why I think that's why this video was interesting. And the video that I'm going to talk about really quick here, and I'm including it on here because it was just rather shocking to me and jarring for its horror-related element that comes out of nowhere, and it's Rock DJ by Robbie Williams. Robbie Williams, the pop song artist, obviously not, I think, somebody that most horror fans would be gravitating towards, but if you haven't seen this video, let me explain it to you. Let me explain what happens. The video is basically Robbie Williams, who's this like handsome, very boy bandy kind of a dude, and he's singing and dancing while he's in this skating rink full of very attractive women, and he's posing and trying to be as hot and sexy as he can, and no one is paying any attention to him while he sings the song of which is not my cup of tea. I don't really care for the song, but the video is really bizarre because, again, he's just dancing this whole time. No one is paying attention, and he's getting more and more frustrated. So he starts to remove his clothing. First, his shirt comes off, then his pants come off. Eventually, he's in his underwear, and no one is even looking at him, and he gets more and more frustrated. So finally, without just not realizing what to do, and not dancing well. And I kind of think I'm guessing that's him being tongue-in-cheek. But so finally he removes his underwear. No one is still looking at him, and he's just really flustered on what to do. So what's a guy to do? At that point, everyone finally starts to look at him, and he then decides to remove his skin. Yes, he just pulls all of his skin off until he's just musculature. And then everyone starts to pay attention to him. So he realizes that obviously this is the way to go. So he starts yanking off muscles. It's just really out there and pretty shocking. And it's some fairly decent effects and stuff like that. And if you're not expecting it from this video, it's kind of out of the blue. To the point of just like, wait, what just happened here? Check it out. It's pretty funny. I don't know. It's worth a check out there. Yeah, you get some skeletons happening there. I mean, it's strange, but obviously not a music video. I think that horror fans would really seek out or check out outside. So I think that the fact that it's there is kind of interesting. Next up is one that's not actually an official video, but it kind of has become sort of the unofficial video for it. And this video is just one that sticks with me as being like really creepy and out there and just so well done. And again, it was not made with the authorization of the band. And the band itself, I think, is a little lesser known, but they are known. And it's Mr. Bungle, which is the side project of Mike Patton from Faith No More. And they had a song called Pink Cigarette, and these guys made a video for it. And Mr. Bungle is sort of half adopted it. It's not the official video, but it's such a weird video because it's basically just about a woman and this man that is obsessed with her, and he dresses like her, and he watches her from afar. It's very unclear if he wants to be with her or if he wants to become her. And he just follows her and stalks her while singing the song. The song has this weird hushed tones to it that is just, I mean... And then it just kind of escalates, like his stalking escalates to the point where he's like invading her home and he's attacking her. And in his eyes they're dancing romantically, but it's actually more of a struggle. And damn, this is such a cool, creepy video. Like it's a very unsettling thing to watch. But it's really, really well done. I would definitely recommend it. Let's see what's next. What do I have for you next? As you can see, most of these are kind of like not the expected things. I really tried to stay away from things that were kind of obvious. But here's one that I think more people do know about. But if not, this is something that's pretty fun. And this. Oh yeah, Josh from Camp Blood Media is here. He actually, I did actually show. I showed a new beginning. I actually showed that early on in the stream. That's actually, I love that video. But here's one that is maybe a little bit more well-known, but the band is not. But the band is called the Menzingers, and the video is called I Don't Want to Be an Asshole Anymore. And it is a very fun video. Very clearly has Jason Voorhees in it. And Jason Voorhees is, he'd be doing what he'd be doing. But he reaches a point where he does not want to be, I guess, an asshole anymore. So he decides to reflect on his life and become a better person. And so he tries to reform and be better. It's a very, very fun, very funny video, cute and humorous. And it's a good song too. I like the Menzingers. They're actually pretty good. They suffer a little bit from that whole, if you've heard one of their albums, you've heard every one of their albums. But they're a cool band. And the video is pretty funny. They're pretty decent Jason. I mean, it's obviously a full head. It's obviously like a full head makeup, and they did a pretty good job with it. Funny stuff. Check it out if you haven't seen that one. That's very funny. One of the more, I guess, obvious horror, direct horror related ones I have on here. Here's one. This one is really bizarre. This is one that I forgot about until somebody mentioned it not that long ago. But whenever I talk about a horror-themed music video, I'm going to guess that nobody in this room said there's going to be some Duran Duran in here. But there's Nightboat. And the reason why Nightboat is in here is because it's basically Duran Duran made their version of Lucio Fulci's Zombie. It's shot with that weird Fulci Vaseline on the lens thing happening, and they go to this island, and on the island they basically get besieged, and there's a lot of things in there lighting-wise that are very inspired by Fulci. Obviously, the zombies are very Fulci inspired as well too. Obviously, running about 5 times the faster than any Fulci zombie has ever run before, because Fulci zombies are the slowest sons of bitches ever. But yeah, it's kind of weird that Duran Duran were inspired by Lucio Fulci. And I'd seen this video when I was younger, but I saw this video obviously way before I had been exposed to Zombie. So I'd never made that connection. Somebody pointed it out within the past couple of months to me, and I had to go back and check it out. And I was just like, you are not kidding. This is basically them saying, let's just remake Zombie and put our music behind it. And I like Duran Duran. Duran Duran's pretty sweet. So can't be mad about that. I feel like Duran Duran has kind of turned into a sort of a joke band that people make fun of, but they are not. Duran Duran is pretty awesome. How about this one? This is a video that is kind of weird because it's not. I wish I could know who filmed this. I don't have that information of who directed this right off the bat, but it's by a band called The Horrors, and the song is called "Sheena is a Parasite." And I'm gonna try and play a snippet of this one because this song, the video, and the music go together so well. And the video is very, very simple, But the way it's shot, it's just very unsettling, and there's just these weird rapid fire imagery that just is odd and unsettling. So it's got these like. Yeah. So if you haven't seen this one, this is, I think, probably a little bit lesser known video, but it's so, the lighting and those quick flashes and shots are just so well done and make this, they just make this video unsettling. And again, the song itself is this like weird, like hyper spastic kind of a thing, and intercut with this video of just this like flashing imagery of disturbing images of just people being warped in a strange body horror happening. Very cool video. Not that crazy about the song. The song's kind of like me. It's all right. It's like simple kind of thing. But great video. I don't know if I'd listen to that song by itself, but with the video, I would. Here we go. Here's one that is by one of my favorite bands of all time. A band that I'm going to guess a lot of people are not aware of is one of my favorite bands. I don't really think I talk about my particular love of 1990s industrial as much as anything else, but I do. I'm a very hardcore 90s industrial man, and one of the best bands of that era is Skinny Puppy. Skinny Puppy is one of my favorite bands ever. I've seen them live about 3 times. I've seen Ogre twice by himself. I love that whole era. Skinny Puppy, Thrill Kill Cult, Ministry, Front 242. Any of those guys are. I love that stuff. But this video in particular is pretty cool because it's for the song Warlock from their Rabies album, and it's pretty much just straight up clips from horror movies. They just it's like all they did was have just straight up horror movie clips back and forth, and it's kind of almost just like a show reel of fun old horror movies that they have pieced together. I mean, a lot of Argento stuff, as you can kind of see in there, but a lot of really good stuff. Yeah, I love Skinny Puppy, and Skinny Puppy loves horror movies as well too. There's so many horror movie like samples in their songs, and if you're like listening to their music, you'd be like, oh, I know that one, I know that. But you know what? I'm not. A couple people mentioned Ministry, and I like Ministry's all right, but Ministry got a little bit too much into the. I liked more of the straightforward industrial, not so much the metal industrial. The metal industrial was cool and all. I thought Ministry was cool, but I liked more that. I liked more of that tin steel sound, like for instance the early Ministry stuff, like Every Day is Halloween, like that whole era where they were almost more of like a weird industrial dance band more than they were a metal band. I like their metal aspect, but I've never really. I don't necessarily think of. Ministry as an industrial band as much as I do, like the Revolting Cocks or something like that, who were more industrial. But I like Ministry. I do like Ministry. I've seen them live. I have seen them live, and very cool band. And then the last one I have for you, the last video I have on here for you, what was it? Is new. It's actually a rather new video, and that's actually a very cool band that kind of goes in line with what we were talking about on the most recent Dead Last, because we talked about John Carpenter a whole lot, and I happen to really love John Carpenter music. And there's a very cool band that has taken a ton of influence from that, and they've put it in their name, basically, because their name is Carpenter Brute. And basically every one of their songs basically sounds sort of like a weird techno-y version of a John Carpenter score. And they have a cool video for a band called a song called Turbo Killer, which the video itself is even very Carpenter inspired. And the song has a lot of John Carpenter stuff happening in it. And it's just very 80s feeling. If you like that whole, they call this synth wave or dark wave, where it's basically just like modern bands kind of emulating the sounds of bands from the 80s. And I happen to really love that stuff. I'm a huge fan of that stuff. And Carpenter Brute's very cool. I mean, all their stuff is like that. And if you like John Carpenter music, synthwave is that, but just kind of modernized. This song can be found in a couple of movies. I know that it's in a movie called The Editor, which is a great movie. It's by the guys that made The Void, and one of the guys that made Psycho Goreman. It's one of their movies, and that movie, The Editor, is full of Carpenter Brute songs. So if you dig it, it's like they're all over in that soundtrack. But yeah, that's all the ones I have marked down just for this. Obviously, there's a ton more, but these were ones I was just thinking of that might be a little bit outside of the norm of what people are thinking of. What it is. Derek's rules for music they're pretty. I think they're pretty stringent. I'm not quite sure how hardcore he is on his time frames there, but I know that he tends to like scores from the earlier, like even with Carpenter, he likes the earlier scores more so than the later one, and I'm 100% with him on that. Although I do like the later Carpenter scores, but there was something about that 80s tone that he just nailed. If you haven't checked out John Carpenter's stuff that he did afterwards, like the Lost Themes albums, there's 3 of them now, and damn, they are great. They're really, really cool. Check them out. They're pretty fun. It's like you just sit there and listen to it, and like you start imagining the movie that these songs would have gone to. And it's really cool. Such a great concept for him to do, where it's kind of like the whole album is him making a soundtrack for movies that don't exist. And it's like, it's like, I think he enjoyed making the soundtracks more than he enjoyed the movies themselves. And these albums are basically him doing the soundtracks without bothering having to do all that messy filming. But yeah, so if you miss the heyday of Carpenter, just put on one of those Lost Themes albums and kick back and just picture in your head the video that's going with it. But I'm seeing some other cool recommendations over in the chat here too. Where I'm seeing some Slayer being mentioned in there, as a Thriller, of course. Thriller being, I think, one of the most influential horror music videos of all time, directed by John Landis, and he managed to not kill anybody while making that video. So good on John Landis. Somebody else mentioned REM's "Losing My Religion" video, which is that has that weird. It does have that one weird moment in there. Matthew Banks mentioned Lordy. Lordy has obviously some very cool music-inspired stuff there. So definitely there's so many horror movie related videos out there. Somebody also was talking about Ogre with being in Repo, and horror musicals like Trick or Treat and Repo, Slumber Party Massacre too. It's kind of fun. I'd see that more as a list video than a Dead Last. But I will admit I have not seen Repo since it came out. I will admit that I did not care for it at the time. I'm kind of curious to see if I would enjoy it on a rewatch. But I do remember not really liking it. But I don't know. I might like it now, because obviously some time has passed in between then and now. But that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. It was a little bit shorter. I just kind of wanted to pop on here. I needed a break from editing the next episode of Dead Last, and I just needed to step away from it for a little bit because my eyes were starting to cross. So just figured I'd come on here and chit chat for a little bit. I still promise that I will stream and do the group stream and finish up the Great Remake War. Keep forgetting that is a thing. We'll come back to it, but I have not yet watched Suspiria, and I really want to do that. But anyway, thank you guys for joining me, and we'll see you again. There's a very cool video coming out on Friday that I just finished last night. That's very fun. It has a fun surprise guest in it, and I'm looking forward to that one, seeing your reactions on that one. So I'll see you soon, guys. Thanks.